Hey everyone, this video is going to be a little different from regular scaling videos because in this video I'm not just going to be giving you the scaling of Saitama, but I'll also be debunking a lot of fan-made Glazer statements that just aren't true. Like a lot of them, if not all of them, are contradicted by the manga itself. So I will be debunking those as well. So please watch this with an open mind. If you're a Saitama fanboy who's not gonna accept the truth no matter how much proof I give, then just hop off the video, don't waste your time. And before any of you get to calling me a OPM hater or something, OPM is literally my favorite manga. This is just a video based on facts and what we have seen in the manga, debunking the Glazer statements as well as giving you the actual scaling of Saitama. This isn't a hate video on either the series or the character or the fandom. I love OPM. As I already mentioned, it's my favorite manga. I love Saitama and I myself am a member of the fandom. So, no hate to anyone. This is just a video based on facts. And with that being said, please watch this with an open mind and let's get right into the video. First of all, scaling. Saitama's biggest feat as of now is Sirius One Squared, in which he destroyed an innumerable number of stars. Therefore, it scales anywhere from multi-solar system to multi-galaxy level, depending on how you want to interpret it. I just say it's galaxy level because it's the middle ground, and then due to his growth later on, he becomes multi-galaxy level. Now, there are a few things I want to explain before we get into the debunking. First of all, Saitama did get to Universal Plus at one point when he got the Dimension Slash of Empty Void, but the thing is, that feat has been retconned because it happened in the previous version of chapter 209, but in the current version of chapter 209, that feat just doesn't exist. Therefore, it is a retcon feat and can no longer be used. As for him grabbing hyperspace portals, these aren't actually hyperspace portals. That was actually a mistranslation in the English version of the manga. The actual Japanese to English translation would be subspace. Therefore, these are subspace portals, not hyperspace portals. So, this still doesn't get Saitama to 4D. Finally, for reversal of causality, while this feat itself would be universal plus, you see, it has nothing to do with the character's physical strength. Anyone who got this ability from the Big G can do it, and Garo says Saitama is the only one who can do it without taking the Big G's hand. That's it. It has nothing to do with the character's physical strength. And immediately after doing this, Saitama forgets how to do it. So yeah, it still doesn't get Saitama to Universal Plus because of the fact that it has nothing to do with Saitama's physical strength. It's just a technique he learned from Garo, used it to reverse causality, and that's it. Nothing to do with physical strength. And finally, for debunking some BS, and once again, watch this with an open mind and actually try to listen and understand. And with that being said, let's get right into the debunking. First one is actually a clear proof of the person not even reading the manga, and that is we have never seen Saitama go all out. So how can you say he's a certain level of strength when we have never seen his full strength? When Saitama himself literally says it against Garo that he is letting loose at full power. Therefore, we have seen Saitama's full strength, and it's multi-galaxy level. Then we have the biggest bullshit of them all, and that is Saitama's name is One Punch Man, therefore he can just one shot everyone. First of all, canonically, Saitama's name is actually Caved Baldy, not One Punch Man. But even if it was, we have literally seen him not one shot characters. He didn't one shot Boros, he didn't one shot Garo. For Boros, you can argue that he was holding back, but against Garo, he himself said it, flat out confirming that he is going all out. Therefore, there is no defense like holding back against Garo. He was going all out against Garo and still didn't one shot. That's clear proof that if you're strong enough, Saitama can't one shot you. Then we have Saitama has never taken damage and never runs out of stamina, so no matter how much stronger the opponent is, eventually Saitama will win because Saitama just won't be hurt. This is again untrue because we literally have three panels of Saitama getting hurt. First one is by this cat, but this is obviously a gag moment, so let's just skip over this one. Secondly, we have Garo and Saitama punching each other on the face and Saitama spits. Whether this is saliva or blood, it still shows effect, and therefore it proves that if you're strong enough, you can damage Saitama. And lastly, we have Genos. Yes, this guy ramming full force into Saitama, and Saitama's face clearly shows pain. Some people try to argue that Garo also became a gag character by copying Saitama, when that is literally not the case because Garo specifically copies techniques, not physical stats. This is further backed up by him saying that the techniques he copies specifically, and also by the fact that his growth rate was not as fast as Saitama. That clearly shows that he didn't copy physical stats, and he also doesn't show any gag ability like Saitama's interacting with non-physical objects and stuff. This is actually backed up even further by Garo being surprised when Saitama grabs his portals, because when he copied Saitama, he immediately knew all of Saitama's techniques like serious punch. But when Saitama grabs a portal, interacts with a non-physical object and shows his gag, Garo is surprised. which is another point backing up that Garo didn't copy gag. So no, Garo didn't become a gag character by copying Saitama. He was still a non-gag character. He was just using Saitama's moves like serious punch and that kind of stuff. And secondly, even if Garo did become a gag character, which again he did not become a gag character by copying Saitama, we still have Saitama showing pain when Genos rammed into him, so that still shows Saitama can be hurt. After all, Genos isn't a gag character, nor does he copy Saitama, so still proves Saitama can be hurt. Then we have another BS, and that is Saitama has infinite strength, which the graph in the manga literally debunks. Like, it's not even something in a guidebook or something, it's literally in the manga itself. Do you guys even read OPM? This graph clearly shows Saitama growing in finite jumps. Therefore, it proves that Saitama has infinite potential. There is no limit on how far these jumps can take him, but he doesn't have infinite strength. Strength and potential are two different things. For the people who think that potential just means strength, here's a simple example so you can understand the difference between potential and strength. Imagine Prime Mike Tyson. Hella strong, right? Now, since he's a male human being, that means every male human being of his age, or at least every black male of his age, has the potential to become as strong as Prime Mike Tyson. But does that mean whenever a black person just reaches that age, they immediately become as strong as Prime Mike Tyson? Of course not. They will only get to that level if they train hard enough. That is the difference between potential and strength. Having Mike Tyson level strength means that you're as strong as Mike Tyson. Having the potential to become as strong as Mike Tyson means that you can get to that level if you train hard enough, but that doesn't mean you're already there. Hopefully, it's simple enough for Saitama Glazers to understand, because if even this simple example can't explain it, I don't know what can. Then there are people who say that Saitama is written to be infinitely stronger and one shot every character, therefore he'll one shot everyone. Which, read the manga, buddy. He literally doesn't one shot Garo even when going all out. The writer wrote this. So the writer literally wrote him not being able to one shot someone who is as strong as him. So how are you saying that Saitama is written a certain way when the writer himself is showing you the exact opposite? Like, you're saying he can just one shot someone even if they have higher feats than him, while the writer himself is showing you that he can't one shot someone who is equal to him. Read the manga, bro. This is just delusional glaze. All the Saitama fanboys always misinterpret what Saitama's gag actually is. Saitama's gag isn't that he's infinitely stronger than his opponents. Saitama's gag is that he has an endgame level protagonist strength at the starting of the series. For example, imagine if Goku had SSJ3 at the starting of OG Dragon Ball. That's what Saitama's gag is. He has endgame level protagonist strength at the starting of the series. That's it. That's all his gag is. There are some people who say that sure, Saitama will lose outside of his verse, but inside his verse, that is the OPM verse, he has so much plot armor that he'll win no matter what. This is again untrue because plot armor isn't given by the verse. Plot armor depends on the writer. So no matter what verse you're in, whether it's your verse, someone else's verse, or a neutral ground, it doesn't give you plot armor as long as there is no writer's intervention. And with writer's intervention, you can have plot armor in another verse as well. Plot and plot armor depend on the writer, not the verse. So just being in OPM verse doesn't give Saitama plot armor. Then there is the argument that Saitama can just outgrow any opponent, and while this works in a lot of cases, it doesn't work in every case, and here is why. First of all, Saitama only grows when he feels a surge of emotion, and that has to be a very big surge of emotions. We know that because we have seen Saitama get angry and annoyed a lot of times, and yet none of those times make him grow stronger. It was only when Garo killed Janos where he felt so extreme level of emotions that he started growing. Before that, we had seen him getting angry and annoyed a lot of times, and we're not even talking some like low level anger. He was literally tweaking out, and yet none of those times get him to grow. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, will Saitama even get excited? I mean, when Garo became Cosmic Fear, he was evenly matched with Saitama, and yet Saitama wasn't excited to fight Garo. It was only after Garo killed Janos when Saitama started growing. So forget him getting excited enough to push him to grow. Will he even get excited to begin with? Now, suppose that he feels an extreme surge of excitement when fighting someone far stronger than him, or it's a bloodlusted fight, or just any other case where Saitama is growing. Now, there are still a few problems in this case as well. First off, if you're comparing Saitama to someone who is near Saitama's level and isn't too much stronger than Saitama, then yeah, this case easily works and Saitama can just easily outgrow them and they won't even be able to catch up most likely. And yeah, in that case, Saitama got it. The problem arises when you're comparing Saitama to someone who can easily kill Saitama. Because number one, if you're comparing Saitama to someone who can easily kill him and doesn't play around or doesn't let opponents grow, then they'll just not let Saitama grow and just immediately kill him. So when comparing Saitama to someone who is far stronger than him, the first thing that's necessary is that the opponent is someone who is playful enough to let Saitama grow in the first place. And secondly, the comparison must be a in character comparison. Because if it's a bloodlusted fight, then no matter how out of character it is for the other person to kill, they will still kill Saitama because that's the whole point of a bloodlusted fight. So the two necessary factors at play for this case to work is that number one, the character Saitama is being compared to is someone who is willing to let Saitama grow for a good fight. And secondly, the fight must be a in character fight, not a bloodlusted battle or a full power comparison. And third point is obviously that Saitama gets excited enough to start growing, which again isn't a guarantee. Okay, so now we have a case where Saitama will be growing and won't immediately die. It's a casual spar, not a death battle, and the opponent Saitama is fighting it's someone who will let Saitama grow because they like a good fight or something. Now, even in this case, there is a very big problem, and that is how scaling works. If you look at the graph of Saitama's growth, you can clearly see that all of Saitama's growth is in 4x jumps. So every time Saitama gets a jump, we're just multiplying the already existing number of galaxies he can destroy with 4. Now, the problem here is that we don't have a precise number of the total number of galaxies in the entire universe. So, no matter how much Saitama grows, it's just gonna add more and more galaxies to his already multi-galaxy status and won't get him to universal because let's say he can destroy a million galaxies. What proof do you have that the total number of galaxies in the entire universe is just 1 million? Let's say he can destroy a billion galaxies. What proof do you have that the total number of galaxies in the entire universe is just 1 billion? Let's say he can destroy a trillion galaxies. Again, what proof do you have that the total number of galaxies in the entire universe is 1 trillion? You can keep on adding more and more galaxies, but the question will remain the same. What proof do you have that the number of galaxies Saitama can destroy is the precise number of galaxies that exist in the entire universe? That is why growth alone isn't enough to get Saitama to universal. You can just keep on adding more and more galaxies to his already multi-galaxy status and he'll just stay multi-galaxy level. So if he's fighting someone who is universal level, they'll just remain stronger than him. He just simply can't outgrow them. Now, even if you can somehow, some way, you can just pinpoint the precise number of galaxies in the entire universe, and so his growth gets him to universal level. The problem arises when you're comparing Saitama to someone who is a dimensionality higher than Saitama, because getting into a higher dimension isn't as simple as just growing. No, in this case, even if Saitama had literal infinite 3D strength, he will still be weaker than a character with 4D strength. In order to get to a higher dimension, you must have a feat of creating, destroying, or at least to some degree, affecting a structure or a character of that dimensionality. Getting into a higher dimension isn't as simple as just he grew stronger, so he's a dimensionality higher now. No, you can literally grow a infinite times stronger and yet it still can't boost you to a dimensionality higher. That's just how scaling works. Another BS, and this isn't just a case with Saitama, but also a lot of other characters, and that is they beat the big G of their verse, so that means they're outer vessel or something. First of all, Saitama hasn't even fought the big G. What you're actually thinking of is a non-canon fan-made manga called Terra 2. And secondly, just beating the big G of your verse doesn't make you outer versal or something. It depends on the scaling of that big G. For example, Azura beat Chakravardhan, but that doesn't mean Asura is outer versal or something. Chakravardhan is just low multiversal, so Asura is also low multiversal. Same case applies to characters like Kratos or Doomslayer or anyone else. And again, Saitama hasn't even fought the big G of his verse right now. He will eventually fight him, of course, we all know that. And once he does fight and beat the Big G, then we'll see where the scaling gets. But for now, we don't even know how strong the Big G is. So please stop using a fan manga's moment when debating about the canon version of Saitama. Then we have Saitama lifting two black holes, which never happened. This is a cover art, not a canon feat. And even if it was a canon feat, Saitama already has a higher feat, so this does nothing for his scaling. And I don't know how, but some people use this as a win con against universal characters, which is just wrong. Like, how is lifting a black hole helping you beat a universal character? Like, come on, this makes no sense at all. So, not only does this feat not canonically exist because it's just a cover art, not a canon feat, even if it was, it literally does nothing for Saitama scaling. And that's it for all the explanation or all the debunks I had. Overall, currently Saitama scales to multi-galaxy level with massively faster than light speed. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.